welcome back to another Film Geek movie review, and welcome to the first new movie review of 2025. Today I'm reviewing the Netflix original Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance, Most Fowl. So what's the plot of this movie? Well, Gromit is starting to feel that Wallace is a little too dependent on his technology. He's getting a bit concerned that his inventions are starting to overwhelm him. And then Wallace invents his creme de la creme, the finest invention he's ever made, the Helper Gnome. But this Helper Gnome seems to take on a mind of its own. Guys, this is a direct sequel to the short film The Wrong Trousers, which is one of my all-time favorite Wallace and Gromit episodes, short films, I guess you would call it. I'm a big super fan. I love Wallace and Gromit. I have for a number of years. The animation style, the comedy, it just hits me. I love it. I mean, right here, I have the full collection on Blu-ray, 30 cracking years of Wallace and Gromit. And you know what, guys? It's enough of me sitting here jibber-jabbering on about how much I enjoy Wallace and Gromit. It's time for me to head over to the futon to hang out with my feline version of Gromit, Haku, who's looking at me quite impatiently. So it's time for me to get over there to check out Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance, Most Fowl. Just getting done watching Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance, Most Fowl. And guys, I had a blast with this film. This movie was so much fun. So let's get this started, shall we? Normally I do negatives and positives, but today's negatives have nothing to do with the film itself or its quality or anything like that. It has to do with the fact that it's on Netflix. And there's two reasons for that. Number one, this movie is beautiful, and I would have loved to have seen this movie on the big screen, especially something like IMAX, because wow, the animation blew my flipping mind, especially with just how much time and work goes into stop motion animation. We'll get into all that here in a moment. And the other reason is, with this being a Netflix original, at least here in the States, I can't speak for the UK, but with this being a Netflix original here in the States, that means we're probably not going to see a physical copy of this film, which really bothers me. It really bugs me, to be perfectly honest, because this movie was amazing, and I would like to be able to have the ability to watch this film whenever I want to. And I know it's on Netflix, and it's a Netflix original, but I mean, in all honesty, they can just erase it from existence at any given time. And to be perfectly honest, that's kind of something that the movie brings up too when it comes to technology and all. But anyways, I'm not into that portion of the review just yet. So if there's anything negative I have to say about this movie, it's nothing to do with the film itself. It's just the fact that it's on Netflix. But I will say, if this movie's quality is any indication of what we're getting this year from Netflix, I am on board, because wow, this movie was amazing. So let's get into it, shall we? And the first thing I do want to talk about is the animation in this film. As I said, this movie is presented in stop motion animation, which is that whole like move something just a little bit and then take a photograph. Move something just a little bit and take a photograph until it makes it feel and seem like this thing is alive and moving. And it is a painstaking, long, drawn-out process. And this goes the old route with using clay and things of that sort. I did a little bit of research and I thought it was interesting. The company that makes the specific type of clay that's used in Wallace and Gromit movies and such, they went out of business. I guess they didn't make enough Wallace and Gromit films to keep them going. So they had to buy up the remainder of the clay that they had. Now, Nick Park has said that don't worry, they're looking for another distributor. This is not the end of Wallace and Gromit because they cannot find that specific clay. It's just kind of how the things worked out. And I thought that was just kind of interesting, so I thought I would share it with you guys. But all in all, the animation is gorgeous. Now, in the actual original film, The Wrong Trousers, there's this extremely well animated, beautiful scene of a toy train chase. It's a high-speed train chase done with toys, toy trains, and Gromit is laying tracks down at some time to kind of control where the train is going and all. It's an amazingly beautifully animated scene. In this film, they go even further with this crazy canal chase sequence. There's a boat chase sequence. There's all sorts of great physical comedy that they do in this film with the animation, and everything is mind-blowing. There are moments where you just kind of let yourself drift away into the film and you forget completely that you're watching something that's animated in a stop-motion fashion, or even animated, period. It's just because of these things being puppets and all, it's such a very real and solid feel to it that you just don't get with the hand-drawn animation or CGI animation. And it just really made this movie have that extra edge. And just the overwhelming amount of work that this film must have taken to be made, and just how much time and intricacy that had to go into the process of these puppets and what they do in this film. It just blew my freaking mind. Also, too, the voice acting is outstanding. Now, the original voice of Wallace was played by actor Peter Sallis. I think I got that right. And he retired from the role years ago. He actually did pass away in, I think it was 2017, at the age of 94. So he lived a very long and full life, right? So he was a very well-known character actor in the UK, and he had a very distinctive voice as Wallace. So going into this, I have not really heard the new actor do the voice of Wallace, which is Ben Whitehead. So I heard that he had voiced some video games and has done some commercials. I don't think the commercials have come to the United States or anything. So this was my first experience with him as the voice of Wallace. Gromit is still voiced by himself, by the way. But anyways, Wallace, however, great job. It still sounds a little bit like the original voice actor. I don't think that he deterred too much from Wallace, but there's definitely a difference, and I like the little nuances and the differences that Ben does bring into the character, into the voice. He still sounds a lot like the original voice actor who played the role, but at the same time, you can tell that he's bringing in his own, cadences and tones and things of that sort. Like, I did notice that Wallace's voice had a little bit higher of a pitch to it, and this is not a critique by any means whatsoever. It was just something that I noticed as someone who's watched a lot of Wallace and Gromit. But in all honesty, outstanding job in the voice acting. The animation is unbelievably good, and the story is super duper fun. The film dives into themes of technology and especially AI, and how AI could be used wonderfully as a great tool, but not as something to actually do the job. And also how something like artificial intelligence could be used for nefarious purposes. So I really enjoyed the message of the film, the story, and how everything unfolds in a very easy and easy way to digest. So younger viewers who watch this movie will get the entire idea of what they're trying to get across. Not that they dumb it down by any means, they just do a very good way of delivering their message in this film. So all in all, guys, if you're a fan of the series, definitely check this film out. And if you're someone who is not familiar with Wallace and Gromit, give yourself a chance to check this film out. Trust me on this, you're gonna walk away with a big old smile on your face. The kids are gonna love it, you're gonna love it. It's just an all-around perfect little family film. So alright guys, there you have it. The first movie review of 2025. And let me tell you folks, we're off to a good start, at least on Netflix. So thanks again for checking out The Film Geek. If you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, and give me the old thumbs up so I know you like what you're seeing. And if there's one more thing you can do, folks, that is keep watching movies. You know I'm gonna.